classifications of jaundice: prehepatic, hepatic, and posthepatic. We now need to make a differential diagnosis. We base this on another group of 3. Patient's medical history, examination, and special investigations. A history in the family of anemia, splenectomy, or gallstones suggests... Oh. No, please. Carry on. I planned on having a quick nap myself when everyone else had dropped off. Do you find this boring?
I don't find it boring, Mrs. Sabatini.
Nonsense, of course it's boring. You couldn't liven it up with a cattle prod. It's because it's boring and complex and time-consuming that the world is not chock-a-block with doctors, except in Australian soap operas. But you people have a problem. You elected to do this. When your parents suggested banking, or basket weaving, or burglary, you said no. We'd rather go in for medicine. And having gone in for it, you have another problem. Me. People do not fall asleep when I'm talking. Anyone with their eyes shut is automatically assumed to be dead. And even then, I expect a damn good excuse why they couldn't cling on until after I'd finished. Do I make myself clear? Ooh. Now, a family history of anemia, splenectomy, or gallstone suggests what? Then I expect you to tell me next time. Go on. My God, it's an uphill slog.
Problems?
They don't seem to realise that medicine is about facts. They have to know them. If a patient comes to them with a limp, it's no good saying, "I'm sorry, I was asleep when we did legs."
Personally, I find my lectures go rather well. I tell a few jokes, that sort of thing.
The effort is supposed to come from the students.
Ah, yes, on a Wednesday or a Thursday, perhaps it does, but on a Monday, they've all got creme de menthe and blackcurrant hangovers.
If any one of them is not prepared to give 100%, then he or she should be slung out. And that's all I've got to say on the matter.
Yes. Incidentally, if I ask where to plug this in, will I get a sensible answer?
Not if you're expecting it to light up, no. Daniel?
Hi, Mum.
Well, this is a surprise.
This is only the first one.
Are you ill?
Not really.
You look worried.
No. You look worried. I look fine.
I have a right to be worried. I only dropped you off at boarding school 2 weeks ago.
I've been slung out.
I'm not being nosy. I'm just concerned, that's all. You look depressed.
I always look depressed. I'm a nurse. Dig up Florence Nightingale, I bet she looks cheesed off too.
Boyfriends?
What about them?
Just wondered if you were having problems with some of them.
Now you're being nosy.
So, we've narrowed it down to boyfriends, then.
It's not boyfriends.
Well, you're having trouble with someone, I can tell. Oh. Well, you only had to say.
Excuse me interrupting your chat with something rather more important. I'm working with Dr. Field this afternoon. Does anyone have any clue which theatre he's in?
Theatre 2, I think, isn't he?
I don't know.
Cheryl?
Marvellous.
Of course, being thrown out of school. Serious business, frankly.
Were you ever?
Good Lord, no. Captain the rugger team. Bell ringers and poets were normally the first to go. You?
One does not get thrown out of a grammar school in Wales, one gets thrown in.
Do you think I ought to offer some kind of advice? After all, woman on her own, this sort of thing can be quite traumatic.
Sheila Sabatini?
Well, we'd have to make the offer cautiously, of course.
Yes. Perhaps over the phone from Norway.
That work I wanted in Monday without fail.
Sheila?
Yes.
Just the person. Now, listen. It may not be as serious as you think. I've had a word with Alec, and he says as long as Daniel hasn't actually blown up a housemaster or something...
Has Neil Copeland told everyone?
I think Gorbachev's phone was engaged.
Joyce, I do not need advice. I have the whole thing completely under control. Good morning. I've had a word with the school, and they're willing to take him back if he's willing to behave like a gentleman. Whatever that means. Swindling the stock market, presumably. In the meantime, he's at home under lock and key, and if I can get hold of it, 2 tons of gravel.
Oh, Sheila.
No, I'm sorry, Joyce. He's pushed me too far this time. Do you know what he did?
It can't be that serious. I've got kids. I know what they're like.
I can assure you it's deadly serious.
Like what?
Well, you've never met him. But Daniel's quite a lot like his father. I consulted an exorcist about it, but apparently he's stuck with him for life. Consequently, I made sure we sent him to an all-boys school in the hope that what his eyes don't see, his neck won't get sweaty over.
Don't you think those places are a bit unnatural? I mean, a boy of his age ought to mix with a few girls.
That's exactly what he thought. So, being a chip off the old Sabatini block, he borrowed a moped and found a whole damn college for.
Oh, I see.
According to reports, he knew the inside of the place better than the janitor's cat. And what's more, had twice as much luck.
But he just borrowed it.
What?
Well, they're not trying to say he stole it or anything.
Joyce, what on earth are you talking about?
Well, look, he's 16, so just riding a moped isn't illegal. On the other hand, if they're trying to say he stole it or we didn't have a licence or something... What?
My son is an incipient voluptuary and you're whittering on about a moped.
I thought that's what you meant.
Joyce, if all the world really is a stage and you and I merely players, then you are almost certainly Daffy Duck.
Ah, Sheila, now listen, I've got a suggestion.
Really? Now there's a coincidence.
24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. All right, you can get rid of them now.
Everywhere I turn, someone's giving me advice. Anyone I think I was stuck down a manhole or something. Follow. You know, this really is tedious. Surgery's come such a long way. Why are we still sewing up by hand? In Taiwan, they'd have made 4 pairs of jeans and a dinner jacket by now.
Yeah. And in my experience, all the jeans would be 8 sizes too small with the zips on back to front.
And in my experience, that would do most men a power of good.
Did your son, what's his name?
Daniel,
Did he really? You know, what Joyce told me.
you seem to find it amusing.
No, not really. I find it depressing, actually. Of course, if I were his father, I might feel a bit different.
How do you mean?
Well, you know.
No, I don't know.
Oh, if he were my son, I mean, it's obvious. You know what I mean, Giles?
I don't think I do. No, not really.
Well, I'd feel a bit proud.
Oh, God.
Proud?
Excuse me, I don't feel very well. Does anybody mind if I leave?
Sister, no, of course not. Giles, take over.
Actually, I'm feeling a bit shaky myself.
Last of the wound and shut up.
Right.
Proud?
Well, I'd be angry at the same time, obviously.
What do you know about fatherhood?
I've got a father.
Yes. Well, we'll come back to that in a minute.
Look, all I'm saying is... Look, when I was a kid and my father found a pile of art magazines under my bed... Well, he was angry, yes, but at the same time, he was also quite...
Proud?
Yes! In fact, he wasn't even all that angry. In fact, after that, they all kept mysteriously disappearing. My father cost me an arm and a leg in dirty books.
And all this is supposed to put my mind at rest, is it?
No, not exactly.
You know, I always thought you were naturally tall. Now I find it's the result of straining to get to the top shelf in a newsagent's.
Look, I'm not saying what Daniel did was right. The point is, while you might feel angry, justifiably, if I were his father, while still being angry, I might feel a warm glow that my son was developing... Listen, I'm not feeling too well myself. Do you mind if I push off?
Judas. Sorry.
Oh, Sheila, do you know it? Oh, thanks very much. I'll do the same for you sometime. What's up with her?
I'm sorry?
Sheila. Totally ignored me. Walked past with a face like a rattlesnake.
And you'd say that was unusual?
Yes.
Personally, I find when she smiles, it tends to frighten the horses.
I only wanted to ask if she knew which theatre Dr. Parker was in. I've got a message.
Ah, well, she did have some rather bad news this morning. I take it you've heard?
If it's about Daniel, yes. You've told me twice.
Really? Perhaps it was Jonathan I didn't tell.
You're becoming a bigger gossip than anyone I know.
I'd hardly call it gossip. I'm simply informing everyone so that we all know that the word school is taboo for a few days.
Rubbish. That's what I always say when I've got a juicy whopper no one's heard yet. And much as I normally approve, I do think there's some things you just don't talk about. So if you should find that Jonathan already knows, it's nothing to do with me.
Back to the fray, old boy.
Yes, might as well. By the by, you've been in there. Joyce seems to think Sheila Sabatini's behaving rather abnormally.
No, it seemed perfectly objectionable to me.
It's just a joke, that's all. They did the same thing to me when I was a trainee.
But you said get a tourniquet, so I got a tourniquet.
For a circumcision. What's the matter?
I'm angry.
About what?
Everything. This place. I'm fed up.
Anything I can do to help?
Yes. Shove off.
Don't ask me. I'm making pig's ears of it right, left and centre. Hey up.
What's going on?
It's Dr. Parker. He's got a problem.
He's going blue. I can't get the tube down. I can't see.
All right. Calm down. You won't get anywhere like that. Now, look, remember what I told you. You can't see the trachea at this angle. You've got to extend the head. There. Now we'll have a clear view.
I did that.
Well, no harm done. Everything okay, Simon?
Oh, yeah. All in a day's work. You'll get the hang of it.
Happened to me all the time when I first started.
I know how to do it.
So did I. Flex the neck, extend the head, and Bob's your uncle, he said. Stop sticking the tube in his ear and try it in his mouth. Anyway, the point is you did the right thing calling for help. Patient safety. That's all that matters.
That was almost worthy of Grandpa Walton.
He didn't seem too impressed.
If Dr. Parker were a normal human being, as opposed to an arrogant, granite-faced yuppie, he'd be feeling a lot better, thanks to you.
You think so?
Jonathan, about Daniel.
Yeah. Look, it didn't really come out the way it was meant to. I mean, personally, I think he needs a good talking to. But I didn't like to say that because presumably everybody else has been saying that and it was going down like a lead ball cock.
You know, I've always thought of you as the voice of reason around this place.
Pardon?
You don't always make much sense. Hardly ever, in fact. But one knows, behind the confused syntax and the Montezuma's revenge of waffle, there's always a sensible view struggling for life.
I'll take that as a compliment till I've looked it up.
Do you really think that Daniel just needs a good talking to?
Yes, I do.
Good, so do I. So we'll expect you about 8:30 for dinner.
Me?
I hope you don't mind.
The idea's ludicrous. I'll be useless. What about Neil or Hope Wynne? They've got kids, they know all about it.
I can't serve beef bourguignon to George Hope Wynne. It smacks of cannibalism. Besides, I don't want anyone else. I think you'll be perfect.
Sheila?
Oh, incidentally, if you're going to bring wine, come in a taxi. 5 minutes in your car could stun a claret senseless.
I don't want you to think I'm overstepping the mark or anything.
Oh, Jonathan, try and get a move on. The Pope could have done it in 8 languages by now.
I still don't know what we're talking about.
I told you. Dr. Haslam would like a word with you.
Not a word, exactly.
No, I think the gist of it could be expressed with a toasting fork.
Sheila.
All right, I won't say another word.
You want to talk to me?
I think want might be too strong a word.
About what?
I should have thought that was obvious.
Sheila.
Well, I'm just trying to move things along a bit. You realise whole generations of fruit flies could have grown up and had grandchildren while you've been waffling on?
I can't hurtle into it just like that.
Jonathan, you couldn't hurtle head down off a pigeon loft.
Do you mind if I have another cup of coffee?
Now you've had 3 already. I'll have to make some more.
I think it might help.
The Brazilian national debt, possibly?
Another pound of flesh, anyone?
Look, Daniel.
Don't you mind eating meat?
How do you mean?
Well, after being up to your elbows in people's giblets all day.
I never really think about it. One thing you do notice, though.
What?
If you watch your mum eating a lamb chop or something,
She doesn't cut it up like most people.
I know. It's like she's practising a transplant.
You think any minute she's going to sew it back up and put its name down for physiotherapy. Look, Danny.
Right, now, let's get down to business, shall we?
I thought you were making coffee.
This isn't the Middle Ages, I have a machine. Now then.
Oh, I'll get it.
No, you won't. You sit down and listen.
It's your turn. I listened last time. Anyway, it's bound to be for me.
Never send to know for whom the bell tolls. If I pay the bill, it damn well tolls for me.
This must be a new experience for you.
Not really, no.
Small family get-together, home-cooked food.
The gentle crackle of the flames leaping out of your mum's mouth.
Chronic indigestion.
Punch-drunk eardrum.
It's a person called Melanie for you.
Melanie?
Yes, I'm sorry she didn't give any measurements. You seem to be getting on rather well.
I cracked a couple of jokes.
I didn't ask you to crack jokes. If I wanted someone to crack jokes, I'd invite the milkman.
I'm just trying to get to know him.
Which is why you've been sat there like a stuffed paratha all night, is it?
Like a what?
Jonathan, you've barely said a word. The only evidence of life came thanks to a minuscule lump of chilli in the salad.
Well, I didn't know people put chilli in salads.
They do when they've chopped it up to put in the guacamole and something interesting comes on the radio. Mole. It's a Mexican dish.
Oh. Didn't taste Mexican.
Because all the blasted chilli was in the salad! Now, can we please get back to my son? Do you realise you haven't mentioned school once all night?
Well, it's difficult. I did try to mention it while you were out.
And?
Well, I didn't actually get very far.
How far?
Look, Daniel.
That's it.
Sheila, he's not my son. I haven't got the right to belt him all round the room.
So you settled for Look, Daniel? Yes, of course. Well, I bet he feels thoroughly chastised after that scorcher.
Look, I'm just a friend of the family. I'm not a priest. Nothing I say carries any more weight than a tsetse fly's underwear.
It might help if you actually said something.
I told you I'm working round to it.
And where are you now? Waiting for a bus in Pakistan?
I said I'd be no good.
Oh, no, you're not getting out of it just like that.
Just like what? I'm sitting here in 2 gallons of sweat.
When Daniel comes back, I want you to go at him with all guns firing.
Sheila.
No ifs, no buts.
No chance, I'm sorry.
I have not slaved for 12 minutes over a hot microwave for you to get cold feet.
I have not got cold feet. You said you wanted someone to listen, someone he could relate to. Now you want Vlad the Impaler.
That's your final word, is it? No? Jonathan, I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important.
God, I know what's coming next.
Being a woman
You
on my
needn't go
own,
on. I can recite this like the Ying Tong song.
I need someone forceful.
All
someone
right,
who can really...
you win.
Do you mean that?
Yes, drag him in. All of a sudden, I could do with a good scrap.
Now, I don't want you to be too hard on him.
Sheila.
I won't be late. Bye.
Daniel! Daniel! Get your own coffee. I'm going to bed.
Good night.
Well, of course, I only heard it from Joyce, but apparently Sheila Sabatini asked him round to dinner to give the lad a bit of an ear bashing.
Absolutely extraordinary.
Why?
My dear chap, if one wants a shoe mended, one doesn't ask a fishmonger.
Exactly. Some of us do have a smidgen of experience in these matters.
Oh, I see. I mean, good Lord, I've got kids all over the place, tripping over the damn things for years.
Oh, quite.
Got one in the Foreign Office somewhere.
Well, look at me. One boy, one girl. I think that just about covers everything.
And then she goes and asks Haslam.
And what does he know?
Absolutely bewildering.
Well, I happen to think that Jonathan would have been, well, quite good.
Oh, yes.
Incidentally, old boy, I forgot. How many offspring was it you had?
Well, none, really.
No?
No.
Look, I don't care what you think. The next time I get shown up because you don't know your job, I'm going to make your life a misery. Okay?
What's up with him? He's
Got
trying
a
to blame
pen,
me for
old boy.
that business yesterday. That's ridiculous. Can I have a word with you?
How can anyone be frightened of a 16-year-old boy?
I was not frightened.
Then what happened?
I'll tell you what happened. I said I'd be useless, and I was useless. That's what happened. You wanted Bone Crusher Smith, and you got Zippy.
I did not want Bone Crusher Smith. Crusher Smith, anyway?
Sheila, can I interrupt?
Only if you know what a Bone Crusher Smith is.
No, I don't. But I know what Dr. Parker is.
Oh, that's not bad for someone who's never worked on a farm in her life.
I'm serious.
What?
Well, I think you ought to know that it wasn't Parker who called for help yesterday. It was me. He tried to stop me. And what's more, he's now trying to blame someone else for the whole cock-up.
Doesn't surprise me.
Oh, there's more.
Look, I don't like getting people into trouble. But Dr. Parker's got a bad case of wandering hands.
What?
Whenever there isn't anybody else about, I keep getting these little pats everywhere. And I don't mean like Mr. Copeland does it. Quick tap on the bum. I just do that back with a colostomy set. I mean, really pushing his luck. And if I say anything, he just looks down his nose at me like a spiny anteater. I'm getting really fed up with it.
Right. Let me deal with it.
Oh, no, you don't. I'm first. Get in the queue.
If you finish him off before I've had a chance to get the boot in...
I'll lob you a bit to practice with.
Belt up, stand still and pin your ears back. Don't look at them. Look at me. I'm the one you've got to worry about. Who the hell do you think you are? You're thick, arrogant, not much cop as a doctor, and boring as sin to look at. And I'll tell you something else. I don't care if you stay or go. But if you stay and your hands go anywhere near another nurse, I shall personally make sure you never pick your nose again. Am I getting through? And if I hear you've so much as blinked out of place in the next few days, you won't be attached to the anaesthetic department, you'll be attached to a ruddy dartboard. Now get lost. I said get lost!
That Bone Crusher Smith.
Well?
Daniel, do me a favour. Go back to school and behave.
Have you been getting some stick?
Well, hasn't everybody?
All right.
Not just like that. Well, I don't know. All that fuss last night.
Oh, Mum's all right, really. It's just that she likes directing people.
She makes things so complicated.
Well, sometimes you could do things a lot better if she just shut up for 10 minutes.
I know.
Do you think anyone's ever going to have the nerve to tell her?
Maybe. One day.